Hello and welcome to a new semester on our courses on empirical research methodologies in IT and digitalization. Our teaching covers two courses, IT 10 for master students and DT 8111 for PhD students. The two courses share most of the assignments and deadlines. There are, however, some differences and I will discuss them later. This presentation is for both courses. In this lecture, I will, on behalf of our teaching staff, give you an overview of the topic of the course, its learning objectives, how the course is organized, and the requirements to pass the course. But first, let us talk about empirical research as we use this concept in the course. This introduction lecture has two parts. This is part 1 and will cover the first 2 points above. A link to part 2 is provided in the notes. Empirical research is defined in our course textbook to be the creation of new knowledge using an appropriate process to the satisfaction of the users of the research. Note that the central topics in this definition are new knowledge, process, and users. Research is always about creating new knowledge, which is not what we are used to. For instance, in engineering studies, we normally learn to apply knowledge and not create it. This difference in creating our own new knowledge is an important distinction for this course and is often experienced as challenging for our students. To cope with the challenges of creating new knowledge in this course, we will focus on the processes of research-based inquiry. Lastly, the type of the research we are concerned with in this course is about the real-world problems belonging to some users outside in the world. This is in line with the problem-solving nature of our studies at NTNU. It also emphasizes the importance of knowledge-based and rigorous processes. Therefore, our course will focus mainly on data from real world, data that you will collect and analyze during the course. This is opposed to theoretical and formal research where no empirical data is needed. One of the dangers of the way we think is that we often assume that what we think is true. We seldom test our thinking and reasoning in a critical way. For instance, we might be influenced by our social network when selecting and buying a product. We might use social preferences without ever thinking whether the product is any good or delivers what it promises. This kind of biases, social or otherwise, is what research methodologies are trying to fix through critical thinking. Critical thinking is defined by John Dewey as the active, persistent, and careful consideration of any belief or supposed form of knowledge in the light of the grounds that support it and the further conclusion to which it tends. What this complex definition says is that we should always critically examine our beliefs and the decisions we make based on them. A basic concept in doing research is therefore to learn to think critically about our and others' experiences, and to do it systematically. Why research methods? We need research methods because we are not born to think critically. Our thinking will often have several biases, such as social influence, recency, meaning we trust most what we heard recently, sunk cost, meaning we cannot pivot even when losing, etc. Such biases are good to have in day-to-day normal living and surviving modus. But these same biases will also hinder us in the creation of new knowledge. Therefore, we need to learn specialized methods that can help us think critically in a systematic way. This is what research methods will teach us. Research methods can help us understand, appreciate, or doubt claims from other people. They will help us to be critical about what pretends to be research, and research methods will help us distinguish research from quasi-research or mere opinions. Two properties of research that we will constantly come back to in our course are relevance and rigor. When you do research, in this course, you will be constantly challenged to tell us why your research is important and for whom it is important. This is called the relevance. We will also challenge you in your way of thinking and designing your research study. This is called the rigor. Relevance is often determined by practitioners, for instance, doctors or programmers or whoever will use the results from your research. Rigor is defined by researchers and the research community who set the standards for what good research means. Here are some examples of research and other thought processes and how rigorous and relevant they are. Note that the relevance does not automatically imply that the thought process is rigorous, for instance, in the case of conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories are often about topics that are very relevant for many people, but they often lack rigor. At the same time, many types of rigorous research might seem irrelevant for practitioners, such as most theoretical and mathematical research. The challenge for good research is to address relevant problems using rigorous methods of thinking. This was a short introduction to what we mean by empirical research. We will cover many aspects of empirical research in this course, so be patient. Now I will discuss some of the learning objectives of this course before moving on to organizational aspects. In this course, you will learn how to design and plan a research study in computer science, information systems, and software engineering, which are the topics that are covered in our institute. You will learn this through writing a research proposal, which is also the first deliverable in the course. You will also learn how to select and use data collection and analysis methods, how to reflect on the validity and implications of your research, and how to write up and disseminate your research. The writing up will be in form of a research paper, a short research paper. You will acquire competencies in conducting empirical studies using primary data. Primary data means that data that you collect yourself through, for instance, collecting logs, usage logs from a computer system or interviewing the users of that computer system. You will acquire competencies on critically evaluating the quality of empirical studies in computer science, information systems, and software engineering, and dealing with, for instance, reading and using research literature that you will find in different databases. The circle you see to the right here is a model of empirical research that you will get to know better in this course. Some of the main concepts here are practical problem, research question, research problem, and research answer. We will discuss these concepts in our next lecture. Your research design for your project will have to show clearly how these concepts follow each other and how one leads to the other, and not the least, how you can claim that your answers are correct. Your first assignment in the course will be about the research design. Now you might be wondering, is all this supposed to be relevant for me? I just want to code and make good software. Why should I learn about research methods? The example of creating good software is actually a good one. How do you decide what good software is, for whom, and how do you arrive at the requirements for good software? These are all questions that deserve critical thinking. What you learn in this course will help you with that critical thinking. But more immediately, this course will help you write a rigorous and relevant master's thesis and hopefully getting you an A. You can continue using these methods later in your professional career. For instance, you can use empirical data when deciding to acquire or develop a new IT product, or when you want to evaluate a new tool for software testing, or evaluating the usability of the product you just developed. And privately, learning to think critically can help you navigate the information you are exposed to on a daily basis, critically examining the claims people around you are making all the time. An immediate application of what you learn in this course is when you start your master's thesis. A master's thesis is often delivered in form of a written report, a report that is built on an argument. In this course, you will learn how to build this argument. You will also practice writing down your argument so that others can understand what you have done. So we just had a short introduction to what we mean by empirical research and what you will learn in this course. We will cover all aspects of empirical research in this course, so be patient. Now you can click on part 2 of this introduction lecture to learn about the organizational aspects of the course.